Thank you so much for yielding, Mr. Chairman. I'm also very grateful for your friendship. And let me start by saying this. Agriculture has a unique ability to unite people across political, social, and economic divides. And I believe that unity is reflected before us today. Mr. Chairman, you have shown amazing equanimity, working in fairness with our members and yours. We owe you and your staff an enormous amount of gratitude in getting us to a place where we could meet multiple member requests and have a good base bill to work from. Thank you so much. Mr. Chairman, production agriculture, it remains the mainstay of places like the Cornhusker State where I live. Production agriculture is also the mainstay of America's ag economy. Our extraordinary natural resources, ingenuity, technological prowess allow our nation's large-scale ag producers to provide the most abundant, low-cost, nutritious, and diverse array of foods in the world. In fact, as you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, our farmers and ranchers are so productive that we are empowered to meet our charitable instinct by moving approximately $2 billion overseas to persons who have food insecurity. I think that's very notable. Investments in this bill build upon this amazing productivity. Mr. Chairman, as you know, last year the Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue came to my district to learn how we in Nebraska are pioneering what I call the farm of the future. The goal is to enhance efficiency, regenerative capacity, new forms of small-scale niche agriculture that marry high-tech with high-touch, connecting the farmer to the family, the rural to the urban, and the farm to the table. The farm of the future is nimble and innovative, yet intimate, allowing persons to know and appreciate the origin of their food. I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the increased investment in this bill for these promising concepts, including the management of farm data by farmers themselves. And I would like to invite the entire subcommittee to my district to see this ingenuity firsthand. Mr. Chairman, as we all are aware, in our day there is an appropriate and growing sensitization to environmental health. Farmers and ranchers have a long history of valuing stewardship, conservation, and sustainability of natural resources. I am grateful for including a number of my requests that emphasize the needs to invest in more sustainable and regenerative agriculture through better cover crop practices and control of fertilizer runoff, while also minimizing inputs. These essential practices can be made more effective through new state partnerships with the Agricultural Research Service, one right in Nebraska, to shape farm practices that increase production at lower costs, putting more money in farmers' pockets. Now, I'm not quite sure we can afford the $350 million increase in the emerging science on climate, but I do endorse investments in a new architectural program, or paradigm, I should say, for the 21st century, in which the ag economy makes smart, market-based decisions for enhanced profitability that result in a healthy, clean environment. That's the fullness of sustainability, an essential part of the ecosystem of livability. Finally, Mr. Chairman, I believe we now have an opportunity to expand and broaden the definition of the traditional ag family. Expanding our ag family with innovative opportunities that add value to our commodity groups, augment specialty crops, and reconnect the farmer to the family will expand local economies and tap into important growing trends about knowing your food. We can also expand and strengthen partnerships and cooperation between minority-serving institutions within our land-grant system. And I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for supporting my request at funding a youth ag program called Ag Discovery, which uses the valuable resources of our minority-serving institutions. Of note as well, as you have pointed out, there is a substantial increase in broadband for our rural communities, and something very important here, an enhancement of drug safety with additional resources for unannounced drug inspections in China and India. Mr. Chairman, of course, my preference is to highlight all the positive decisions in the legislation. I'm also obliged to address several areas of concern. As Ranking Member Granger has pointed out on several occasions, the increases in the bill proposed for non-defense bills like this one are too high. I would also like to point out that the bill contains a nutrition program provision that grants unlimited funding in the final quarter of this year. This is an issue that we believe we should leave up to the authorizing committee. With those things said, Mr. Chairman, I look forward to working with you, solve problems, think creatively, and get us hopefully to the point where we can pass a good bill into law. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.